Hi, this is a dusty old picture of mine that I keep in my studio of my parents, Francis and Edith Schaefer, leading an anti-abortion march in Atlanta. And back in the 1970s and 1980s, Dad and I were out on the road, basically creating out of thin air what became the anti-abortion movement as far as evangelical Protestants go, and then the litmus test issue with which countless Republicans have won elections up into and including Donald Trump. You know, I want to tell you something that most evangelicals don't know. Abortion never was an evangelical issue until it became one, so to speak. Back in the early 1970s, we had a film series called Whatever Happened to the Human Race that really changed the dynamic. But before that, my dad had become a famous evangelical leader. And anywhere he went, thousands turned out, quite literally. We played at Dallas Arena with 16,000 people. Roger Staubach, the quarterback of the Cowboys, introduced him. Tom Landry, the coach, was there. When my parents went to Washington, before that they'd been staying in the Ford White House. Mike Ford babysat my daughter Jessica along with his wife Gail. I was there at the National Religious Broadcasters giving a keynote speech when Pat Robertson introduced Ronald Reagan as our man. But I want to tell you something that evangelicals who talk about the pro-life issue as being decisive for them don't tell you. Until we went out with the film series, it wasn't an issue. How do I know that? I sat down personally with Billy Graham, the evangelist, along with my dad and my mom in Rochester, Minnesota, while Graham was getting a health check at the Mayo Clinic and my dad was there for cancer treatment, and we begged him to jump on board the pro-life bandwagon. We sat down with the editors of Christianity magazine and basically cursed them out for not taking a stand on the issue, because they described themselves at that point as ambivalent on abortion or pro-choice even, the way Dr. Criswell was, the president of the Southern Baptist Convention, who also was the pastor of First Baptist in Dallas, the flagship of American fundamentalist Christianity. He described himself as pro-choice, said the Bible never was against abortion, and actually there were biblical passages that proved that in God's eyes an unborn fetus was not a full human being. Now, aside from the issue of abortion itself, that's a different deal. Let me just say very clearly again, abortion was not an issue until it became one for only two reasons. One, it was a good fundraising shtick for evangelical leaders like Franklin Graham's using today, and before him people like Pat Robertson and Jerry Falwell Sr. used, and Jerry Falwell Jr. still using, and Dr. Dobson on Focus of the Family, etc. And Republicans like my friend Jack Kemp, who described the abortion issue as a godsend for the Republican Party in trying to motivate apathetic evangelical voters who were, in his view, too much into just Jesus stuff and Christian issues, which he did not believe in, by the way. In the same way, it became something that was useful to people, and it still is. Fact. If you want to reduce abortions, make Medicare for all the law of the land, a single-payer system. Fact. If you want to reduce abortions, make health care for women better. Fact. Making abortion illegal doesn't reduce abortions, it just kills women. And that's okay with the Republicans, because they hate women. Look at how Donald Trump got away with mocking a woman who was assaulted sexually at age 15, ironically to put in power a man to roll back Roe v. Wade, which back in the day evangelical leaders like Criswell, the editors of Christianity Today magazine, and Billy Graham would have been against. So mark this, it's a phony issue. Abortion is a phony issue. Abortion is a phony issue. Abortion is a phony issue. No one wants there to be more abortions, but if you want them to go down, elect Democrats who will put in place social programs to actually do something about helping women. Thank you. My name is Frank Schaefer.